All right, guys, here we are in another episode of the
All,
podcast called.
all right, guys.
Wow, this is pretty exciting. So, what are we doing?
Yeah, we're at New Scenery. We're at Electric Surf Co. in downtown Austin.
Wow, Electric Surf Co. is probably one of the best stores that I've ever been to as far as anything PEV.
Yep.
And I'm not being biased because my best friend he runs the shop and owns the shop, Luke Shao. So I'm not being biased at all. It's an awesome store. I don't know if you can see behind us, but we have electric paddle boards, one wheels, electric bikes, go karts, jet boards,
Free cold brew.
e-fly boards, free cold brew. I mean, accessories, apparel, everything here at the shop,
And usually this is where the Wednesday night group ride starts.
Which
we
is-
all gather here.
which is actually happening tonight.
Yep.
Are you going?
Yep. I'm gonna go with the beginning part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll see you there.
All right.
All right. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Dirtsurferz and how it went, and everything else in between.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
is going to be our third podcast.
Number 3. Yeah.
So getting a lot of good reviews again about the podcast, and I'm super stoked that everybody loves it. So let's where should we start as far as Dirtsurferz?
I mean, I guess we can just start about kind of what our plan was going into it. We left Wednesday morning
Okay.
with the plan to get there as early as we could Wednesday.
Yeah.
Met up with Richard, and since Richard night shift, I drove for him. But we trained Wednesday afternoon, and then all day Thursday, and then
Well, to be honest with you, I wanted to go up early. Like
Yeah.
I mentioned that to you. Like I wanted to be there early. But once we got up there, I felt like the time that we got up there was ample enough time to train, kind of get an idea of the trails, and then to go and eat and do whatever.
yeah, I mean, I was not expecting to hit all stages on Wednesday,
Yeah.
but we did it.
Yeah, we did do it. So let's talk about the actual. Let's just jump right into the enduro race.
Okay.
Let's start with you and how you felt.
Yeah, so it was pouring rain on Friday, which was, I think, perfect because it forced us to not train, which is what I needed, because since I hadn't been training at all, and you've been just training basically on going on group rides because the trails are so wet.
Yeah.
I think that was perfect to relax the muscles. And then
Well, but we did train all day Thursday.
okay, yeah, I guess coming up to the event.
Yeah, I mean we trained hard on Thursday.
We did, yes.
Like I rode so much. I rode with everybody.
I mean, we trained all day. It was ride 2 to 4 trails, charge up. Ride 2 to 4 trails, charge up all day.
And then it was really awesome because I rode with a whole bunch of different kind of riders. I rode with people that ride with different techniques and different age groups and stuff like that. And it was so fun to watch different kinds of people ride these trails. We all have a different way of riding. We all have a different way of sending it through these trails. And each one of them, I was able to take something from them, right? It doesn't matter if it was little Jeff or if it was Emma Stewart. Didn't matter if it was you or Andrew Corral or Luke Austin, Neil Bennett. I mean, every single one of those people, me personally, I was able to take away from how they ride. It was really cool.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, go back to
no, you're
let's
good.
shoot up to the actual race on.
So race
on
day on Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah. We woke up to sun and the trails started drying out, and although there were some wet spots that took me out on a couple of the stages, the trails were great.
How did you go into the race? Because I didn't really talk that morning. I mean, we did, but we didn't actually go actually talk into like we normally do.
Mm-hmm.
So we got up and we checked in, we got our gear on, and then we started going. But how did you feel going into Dirtsurferz, into the enduro race? Which, if you guys don't know, the race that we're talking about is the enduro downhill race, which it's 1 through 7 tracks with a pro line, which makes the 8th track. So
yeah,
how did you feel with your shoulder and everything that's been going on? Being back on the board racing.
Yeah. So when we were practicing Wednesday and Thursday, I eased into training and eased into a higher speed of riding, and I felt great. I didn't feel any pains in anything. and I had all the range and everything I needed to be successful. And so I wasn't thinking about my knee or my shoulder coming into racing. I was just focusing on my nerves and staying consistent when I'm riding.
Yeah. Yeah. So did you ever have a worry? I'm sure you did because I even have that worry, but did you ever have a worry while you're racing? Like, this is like, if something happens, like, let's say you're on track two, if something happens, would I be able to continue on to do the other, six
Mm,
tracks? Was that on
yeah.
your mind, or did you kind of just blur that out and just kind of send it?
I just sent it. I never think about my body,
Yeah.
whether I feel the pain or not when I'm
Yeah.
racing. It's just not even a thought. Now I will, say that occasionally the thought will come into my head, but it doesn't stick around for long.
Right.
So I'm so focused on the trail and what I need to be doing right in the moment.
Yeah. And Dirtsurferz is such the trails in Eureka Springs are so gnarly.
They
Like,
are, yeah.
you
It's a good
if
word
you've
for that.
never been there, and if you have experienced it, even the pros, I mean, you're hauling butt. It doesn't matter what speed, but at our speeds, we're going over
Yeah,
20 miles an hour on these single track trails with massive 100-foot cliffs next to them.
yeah. Sometimes
And
those slopes just go forever.
yeah, but and it's funny because I think about it when I'm training or when we were riding them, but during the race, I like just did not even know they were there.
Yeah.
So it was pretty intense.
And those
Um,
trails, if you're not scared, then you're not going fast enough.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of room to go on
There's a
those
lot of
trails for
room.
speed, but it obviously gets scary with those higher
So I,
speeds.
I kind of want to touch base on that what you just said because training Thursday, even Wednesday, we were really just we were just sending it, right? We were just doing 85, 90%.
Yeah,
And I felt really good. The trails were dry, but with all that rain, it brought me back to last year when I was just there for fun and it rained really bad and I
yeah,
had fallen so many times and I cut my hand, I cut my elbow. I mean, I was just beat up from that trail and I wasn't even racing. I was just cruising on the trails. So I really had like um, something in the back of my head just still back there from last year saying,
uh-huh.
this may happen again. So when Saturday came, I tried to play real conservative. I thought to myself, okay, just don't crash.
Yeah,
Just don't crash. And out of all 8 stages, I came off my board once, and that was on stage 8. And
yeah.
it was on the second feature on stage 8, which we'll talk about here in a second. That was a crazy stage.
It was.
But I knew it from the time that I got off my board that although I didn't crash, I didn't come off the board through those stages, my speed wasn't there. I wasn't pushing myself. I was so scared to crash and lose my board down the hill or do anything like that. So
Hmm.
I I played too conservatively, which in the end kind of, it didn't really work out for me. But these are things that I learn and stuff, and
Yeah,
I just gotta find like that middle of where I need to be. And the thing is like the next event and the next event, it's like they're not all the same. So
right.
what I learned from Let It Ride, I couldn't use at Oak City. What I learned at Oak City, I couldn't use at Dirtsurferz, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
So it's so hard, and I think that's why when we train here in Austin, we try to change it up a little bit so we can kind of get a
Hmm.
little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about the pro line, which, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time they've done this,
Yeah, this is the
right?
first time that there was a separate
Okay,
separate
so
stage
so
for pros.
anybody who was raced tracks 1 through 7, but if you were a pro man, a pro woman, then you raced on the eighth segment. And tell
Yeah.
me tell me your thoughts on
Yeah.
that crazy
So
segment.
not only is it just as long as the other stages,
It,
so it's
it was 4
tiring.
minutes long.
Yeah.
It took me 4 minutes to,
Yeah.
to finish that.
And I was 7 seconds behind you. Um, it's not only is it long, but I would say about 70% into the trail, there's 3 tech features.
Yeah.
So you come up to it and you know it's around the corner. So at least for me, I kind of rest up for a second because I know what I'm in for. And you have this gnarly rock garden that you have to pop, 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 pop
Yeah.
down it, and then keep your speed to climb up to the next feature. And that the second one's the easiest of the 3, I would say, because you
Yeah.
can kind of you're allowed to skirt around the side
Right.
of it.
And that's the one I came off on. The
I came
easy
off
one.
on that one
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I came off on 2 and 3, and then after 2, you have some room to really get some speed. A couple rollers to this gnarly uphill rock that just sends you straight down into a massive berm to the left.
I was so pitted, bro.
Yeah, and you were always so good at that. I mean, from your first attempt, you nailed it. You did it on a stock GT.
Yeah.
And you nailed it on the race.
Yeah, I did. Well, and you know what's funny is that during practice, I was really worried about that, those features being an issue. And I do that stuff all the time here in Austin, so I don't know what I was so worried about. But, you know, every time during practice, I actually never nailed the second one. Like, for some reason, I just could not get that pop, 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 pop down, you know?
Yeah.
But first and third one, I just crushed it, you know? And when I went riding, I don't know who I went with. The very first time I saw the feature on 8, I was like, all right, well, let me try it. And I hit it and I landed it. And then during the race, I just held on, you know, and landed it. But those features were pretty nuts, right? But to be honest with you, the track coming up to the feature, there was some pretty crazy kind of stuff. Like,
it was one of the wettest ones too.
And it wasn't full throttle. There was an area where the dirt turns into like grass that had just been recently mowed.
Yeah, so it's wet grass.
I'm not kidding you. That roller was like this tall, with a steep embankment
with mud on it,
and you can see where everybody was like nose dragging into that. It was gnarly, and you know, it came down to these sharp grass / dirt berms that go to the right and then go to the left, and all of it was just so hard to manage, especially on the grass part because all the chatter there.
Yeah.
And then
there was a really wet section that was like almost flowing water into like straight mud at the bottom.
Just straight mud.
And you had to like keep straight, like turn enough, but not too much, because you have to go straight through mud.
Dude, I was thinking the same thing.
It was so hard to like, because after more people had gone through it, it was worse. Because you could see where people like just went straight.
Yeah, just kept going.
And you had to slightly turn and keep your speed to get up past that. That was a tough spot.
But the thing is like, it really wasn't like a sharp turn either.
No.
It was a gradual right-hand turn. And for us being goofy, it makes it harder, right?
Yeah, because that's a heel. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, but I remember seeing that, and I'm like, oh, please don't slip. I never slipped on it. I mean, my board kind of slipped out, but it was.
And it's, you know, if you're coming fast, because we're trying to go fast, right? It's a little chattery before you get to it.
Yeah. That was intense.
Yeah.
Man. So number 8, in all was, it was still super fun.
And you know what was most distracting to me was going through the 3 stages, and there's like future motion, one wheel's there, you know, filming. There's like
there's at least 10 people.
At least 10,
because there was 2 people per feature that were judging, making sure that people,
they're like refs,
right, plus whatever.
Yeah, and they were told not to say anything. So I was coming to the first feature expecting like some noise, because like that's usually what it is,
right?
And it was dead silent. And I was so thrown off. I was like, do I need to root for myself? Because like it was the weirdest thing, and it actually distracted me.
Right, and the crazy thing is, again, we're goofy, so when we hit the trail, they're all right here.
Yeah,
we're looking right at them, and I can see them, and it's just like crickets. It's like, and I like, do I say yeah for myself? Does anybody like say yeah for me? But you know, that was
a funny thing.
That was really funny. I think I was more distracted, like you said, by them not cheering us on than them just being completely silent.
Yeah, I guess they needed that for the video. I don't know. Guess we'll find out.
It was super fun. So, Mr. Tyler Arison, tell me what your favorite trail or your favorite section was in Dirtsurferz.
Yeah. Okay.
And if it changed from last year.
Yeah. Okay.
Meaning, did your opinion about it change from last year? Because the trails were the same except for 8. They were just ordered differently this year.
Well, there was two changes.
That's
so
right.
Stage 4 was shortened because of how wet it was.
Yeah.
And Stage 5, last year's 1, was modified and extended. So, and honestly, I think Stage 5 was my favorite.
I did like Stage 5.
I also did I felt like I ran my best and cleanest run on that one, so that has something to do with it.
I didn't see what I ran on Stage 5. Stage 5 was fun, which was incorporated into, like you said, into Stage 1 from last year.
Yeah.
I really think getting on that road, it was such a mind, like a mind F, you know, like it really F'd my mind because, because like on the trail, you know, you're zooming through the trail, you know what to do, and then boom, there's an open road.
Yeah.
Do you send it? Is it chattery? There was a bunch of loose rocks. I mean,
It's like 100 yards of just
at least
going straight.
Yeah.
It's almost like a break, intermission before the second half.
Exactly. And I was like, what do I do? Do I just full send it? So I just full sent it through there.
Yeah.
And then, you know, right into that left turn and remember that. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I think 5 was honestly my favorite. My worst track was this year's 4, I believe.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, going down to the lake.
Going down to the lake. Yeah, that's 4. Because 4 is so, it has so much gnarliness to it, so much technical features that none of the other tracks have. You know, one of them being that there's a section that there's just solid like limestone rock, not solid, but solid rocks.
Yeah. Like daggers
that you have to actually either bonk over all of it, or you have to kind of maneuver around it. And remember when we were training?
Yeah, is that the spot where you broke your wrist guard?
I was trying to decide in my head. I said, okay, do I bonk it or do I just go around it? And I try to bonk it, and I slammed right on the rocks, and just my wrist guard just shattered. And
that's the place that got Richard too.
Oh, that's right. It got me. Yeah. So, and then you know you keep going, and it's just downhill. There's some whoops, but at those hills, it's all muddy and slippery, so it's not like a full send. Yeah. Actually, during practice, I went. It was me, Christy Miller. It was Evan, this guy named Andy, and there was another guy that came out of nowhere. And Christy, on that first rock garden, she slammed hard, like hard. I felt so bad for her, and she would like on her. I think it was on her side or stomach. She was like this, and I was like trying to help her up, and she's like, "Oh no, I'm fine, dude." She was a trooper. She came out of that like nothing. So I went in front of her. She went back up. She's like, I'm gonna land this. She went back up, went through the rock garden, killed it. I went through the rock garden, killed it, and I just started messing around, you know, because we were just cruising. And I tried to bonk a rock, and I slipped on that mud, and I slammed just like this, like right on my arm, and I just lay there, and I was in so much pain. And she comes up to me, she's like, "Are you all right?" I was like, "Yeah, just leave me alone for a second." I put my legs up on the tree that was right there, and I kind of just lay there, and I was like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Just thinking of the dumb stuff that I do. But, man, it was fun, man.
Yeah.
I just think that Nick and Rachel, they put so much time, so much love and sweat into building this race. And if you are a one-wheel racer, Dirtsurferz is the place to be. It's the place to show off, because there's no other race like it, man.
No, it's
no other race like
it. If you win Dirtsurferz, like, you might as well be the top dog for the whole season.
Shout out to Luke Austin.
Luke Austin crushed it. I mean,
yeah,
got the Dirtsurfer award. Yeah, because it's over 7 miles of stages that you have to be able to crush all of those.
Yeah. So let's talk about the excursion race. Because
that was fun.
I've never done that before.
Yeah.
They had one at Oak City, and then they have one at Dirtsurferz. And I didn't do Oak City. Richard did. But I think the day before we were like, hey, let's just do it. You know, let's just sign up. So they actually wrote our names in at the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
He paid for them. Feather Racing paid for them. And we're like, let's just do it. What did you think of it? Well, you did it last year.
I did it last year, and
right.
I had so much fun last year. Even though, and part of the fun is, you know, there's no points involved. It's just for fun, just to see who can be the fastest.
Yeah.
7.5 miles of straight go.
Yeah.
And the chaos of the beginning of it, trying to pass people in single track trail, trying to stay on your board, because that's so important.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting. Your legs are fried. Your board starts to feel weaker, or starts to get weaker as you get along.
How did you feel like going into it? Because we had been training since Wednesday, and that race was on Sunday. So were your legs jello? How did you feel?
They felt fine, you know, and my nerves were not as bad as Saturday. So
I was still nervous.
I mean,
I wasn't nervous about racing or riding around all those people.
Yeah.
I was just like, I want to redeem myself from the day before.
Because we made it into top 20 for the enduro, so it's like, well, let's prove that we can get better than that.
So my whole, just jumping real quick. My whole thing was to go into Dirtsurferz and get top 12. Like that was my goal.
Yeah.
Right. And I definitely was. I got 17th and you got 15th. And it's just not the place that I wanted. You know, it sucked. I was still under the 20th, but I really was shooting for that 12th. And I knew that I didn't have the position when I was racing, and I was being real conservative. So I went into the excursion race thinking, look, I want to prove not to anybody else, but that to myself that I can race with these top guys.
Yeah.
You know? That was, I was so nervous at the start point, but we were chatting with Kyle Hansen, and he was, you guys were making fun of my fender. I don't even have it.
That fender's trash.
It's
so trash.
I told Kyle, and I'm gonna do this when I go to the next event. I'm gonna take that fender with me, and I'm gonna sign it, and I'm gonna give it to him.
Perfect.
He was talking crap so much about that fender, and I ended up beating him, and my board was clean.
Yeah, but he was just there for fun. He had a selfie stick with him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he was nose dragging all the way up.
He was nose dragging the whole shot.
Dude, shout out to Nico. He was hitting 33.4 miles an hour.
Watching that video of him, like from Richard and Alex's drone
from
shots,
all the views, like
my
33.4 miles an hour, cruising down an asphalt road, man.
And his acceleration at the beginning, oh my god.
Super far lane. That guy, he's a missile, man. He is a missile. I mean, I'm honestly, like, even the GTs were hauling butt, you know.
Some of those guys must have been pushing 30, which is crazy.
I was behind Kyle Hansen, and he was nose dragging, him and Finn, but I was behind Kyle, and he was nose dragging, and it really was like a boost. Like, he just shot out. It was so crazy to see that. I can't nose drag on a GT, or at least I haven't tried. I can do it all day on an XR, but GT has so much power. I haven't really tried.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was an exhausting, for me, exactly 30-minute ride where I didn't know when it was going to end, because they don't tell you, well, here's the finish line. You know, they just said go. And then when you see everybody at the end at the lake, you know it's done.
Yeah.
You know? So it was intense.
What
place did you get in that?
I ended up getting 8.
Yeah, that's good. And I got 6.
You got 6, yeah.
Yeah. I just posted a couple videos on my Instagram that Neil caught of me where, you know, and I said this a couple times, where Austin Silva was on my ass like the whole time. Not the whole time, but I would say like 20% of the time. And I was so nervous having him on my butt. You know, he's such a good rider. And I was just sending it, and I can hear him like, hey, man, just calm down. Just take it easy, you know, because I was like just hitting turns really fast and just full sending it. And we kind of played this, you know, I passed him, and then I crashed, and then he passed me, and then his board overheated, and then I finally passed him. And then there was a section where Floaty McFly was behind me, and he was right on my tail. I mean, I can hear him right behind me. And, you know, you don't look back, but you know they're right there.
Yeah.
And there was a couple uphills that he unfortunately nose dug into the ground. And when I saw him do that, I just kind of took off and was able to stick with my position. But I saw less. I think maybe you saw him too.
Yeah, I caught up to him.
His board overheated, and he was like, I saw him bend over. He had a whole system cooling down the board. Yeah, that was fun, man.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It was so fun doing that.
Yeah.
So I think the whole Dirtsurferz, you know, it's not like a festival like other races, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I still think that Dirtsurferz had that whole just fun racing, you know, just that feel to it, you know, because you can race all day, and even though there's no extra stuff, which I didn't even need, I still had like so much fun.
Yeah.
I had so much fun.
Yeah, because there's still people hanging out,
yeah,
you know,
it was
doing
just,
whatever.
It was just fun. You know, and there wasn't like food vendors or all that stuff. I mean, it's all in town, but it was just, everybody was just having a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely want to come back next year and kind of do a redemption on my placement. I know that I can do better.
Yeah.
I just, you know, I get so nervous, and, you know, I have ADD or ADHD. And so like, I'm always like just bouncing off everything, you know, and I just, I get so nervous, and I overthink something, or I underthink something, and then it affects me. And, you know, I'm still happy with the placement that I got. I still get ORL points, but It just wasn't what I was shooting for.
Yeah.
Whereas when I went to Let It Ride in Oak City, I didn't have a placement in mind. I just went there to race and just trying to see where I got.
Yeah.
So I think I was a little more bummed in this because I told myself this is what I want to do. But you know, as they say, shit happens, and so you just got to move on and learn from it.
I think we definitely got humbled. The guys that beat us, I mean, they
fast.
so fast. And
I think I asked you, or you asked me on the way home. You were like, "What do we need to do to go faster?"
Yeah,
yeah,
it was crazy. So I have some numbers. I looked into the data on last year's races and this year's from a couple different riders, including us.
Okay.
So I know that you kind of just came to hang out last year.
Yeah.
But still, I got your improvement points. So not all the stages were the exact same.
Sure.
So I referenced the 4 stages that I knew were the exact same for accuracy. So last year, so that would be stage 1, 3, 6, and 7 this year. The exact same as last year. Last year, you got 12 minutes and 22 seconds for those 2 stages. This year, 10 minutes, 14. So 2 minutes and 8 seconds faster than last year on just those 4 stages alone. I got 11 minutes last year and 10 minutes this year. It's crazy that it worked out exactly to the second, 11 minutes and 10. So I got Floaty McFly. He got 3rd place last year.
Okay.
And he got 3rd place this year.
Oh,
so I was like, oh, perfect guy to evaluate.
Numbers,
And he GT both years too.
Okay.
9:46 last year and 9:29 this year.
Wow.
So,
so
17
he was consistent.
He's consistent, 17 seconds faster, and he kept 3rd place.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it, but Luke Austin did race last year.
Yeah, he got like 6th or 7th or something. Or what did he get?
No, he got I can't remember, but I actually beat him last year. I was at 1 position in front of him. But last year, 11 minutes exactly, just like me on those 4 stages. This year, 9 minutes and 13 seconds.
What have you been drinking or eating, Luke Austin? How did you?
A minute 47.
How did you gain that?
Faster on only the 4 stages.
That is so crazy.
So
for him to come that far is so amazing. That's why that makes him such a good rider.
Yeah. And so as we're talking about time in seconds, like, well, what's relevant? Well, to put it in perspective, every second at 15 miles an hour is 22 feet, and 20 miles an hour is 29 feet.
Wow.
So basically 30 feet. And so when you put that into perspective, it's and on
that's
one
a
stage,
huge gap.
I think Luke's average pace faster than us was about 18 to 20 seconds faster per stage.
Wow.
Which is 130 yards.
Yeah. So a football field and almost a half a football field. Right?
Yeah.
1.5
on one stage.
Yeah.
So that helps at least me put in perspective of like how far.
Like I wouldn't even be able to see him. Like,
no. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so I didn't realize this, but Finn actually placed first in 3 of the stages.
Wow.
But he got like 6th, 7th, or 8th, something like he was way down.
Yeah.
But he crushed some of the stages.
Yeah.
So I thought this was really good insight for me to understand.
Yeah, for sure. Don't show anybody.
And what was cool is I could, because it shows you, right, like each stage, like what you placed on that particular stage.
Right.
And I was consistently placing like 10th or so on all the stages I ran clean.
Oh, okay.
And then the stages that I fell once or twice, it was like 29th or like 20th.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah.
It's really cool that they have all that information, and it really lets you know. Like,
I'm glad you did that, man. That's good perspective and kind of get an idea. And that way, next year we can keep this and we can look at our times from next year. That's a good idea. Good job doing that, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's
so funny. Like you talk about this stuff and you look at the numbers, but when you actually sit it down and put it pen to paper and you see the results and you see the increases and all that, you're like, wow, that's actually really good.
Yeah.
Like I think I did do that on mine, and I was like almost 5 minutes faster this year than I was last year. But last year I wasn't racing. I did race, but I was just cruising. I was trail riding.
Yeah.
You know? And
that's where like going full send or 100%, it means something different to each person, right?
Yeah.
That's 100% for somebody is different than 100% for somebody else.
Yeah.
But for me, who wants to be the best, I'm like, well, no, there's only one full send, and that's the fastest.
Right.
So I'm not full sending it because Luke Austin crushed me.
Yeah.
So there's more to give.
There's
There's
definitely
more
to
to give. The board has more there.
And you know,
just gotta find
I
it.
talked to Neil today, and him and I talked. Neil Bennett, just to let you guys know, is probably one of the most coolest, down to earth dudes I've ever met.
For sure.
He is
I would agree.
so chill and relaxed, and he's so meticulous about what he does. But anyways, I talked to him for a good minute on Messenger today, and you know, for him to ask me like, hey, how would you run this course again? And then for us to go back and forth and basically like go over our playbooks and what we did wrong, what we did right. For him to do that with me, who, you know, this is my third race, my third overall race, is so like, it just proves of how good of a guy he is. But we went back and forth, and like, we're trying to figure out what we did and what we did wrong, what we could have done better, and just grow from the experience. So
yeah,
shout out to Neil Bennett on that. I kind of want to just give a couple shout outs from this past weekend. Just because everybody was super down to earth. I had so much fun. We went to go Onyx Caves.
That was cool.
That was super fun. Even though Hannah, shout out to Hannah, she, as soon as we got into the cave, did you see her? She just took off. She was like running through the cave, like, you know, and then
it was a guided tour with like headphones.
Yes.
Now you had to walk like you're
Super
walking with your 90-year-old grandma to like actually keep up with it.
Yeah.
But
it was
that was a lot of fun. Justin Thompson came.
It was Justin Thompson, Noah Mead, Brandon Peavy, Trish, Christy Miller. Who else am I missing? I don't think I'm missing anybody. I think that was everybody.
I think so.
Yeah, that was super fun.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, and then we went and had some barbecue and just chowed down.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't find anything to eat on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Because everything closes early. We found some really nasty pizza.
Yeah, we did that.
Richard bought for us for $20. And it was disgusting. You took me to McDonald's.
Yep.
I ate there. We had some ice cream. But I just want to give a shout out to so many people. Luke Austin for just winning, you know.
Yeah,
such a fast dude,
showing us what's possible,
and just, you know, I talked to him for a little bit, and we talked back and forth. We rode for a little bit. I trained with him a little bit. We both did actually. It was super fun. But Luke Austin, again, Brandon Peavy, shout out to him. I want to do a special shout out to Christy Miller, Brandon Peavy, Trish, Hannah, Noah, Justin Thompson. Who else was with us over there? They brought me into just their little family, their little clique, not clique, but their little group that they have, you know, and they let me hang out with them in the hotel, upstairs in the hangout area, just have such a fun time. And they were always so generous and letting me, you know, just take whatever I wanted as far as food or whatever. But Nick and Rachel,
they crushed it. Another
amazing year.
And Scott Mendenhall and friends.
Like, man, those guys,
they came.
Every single one of those people that I met were so friendly, man.
So nice.
So friendly. Such a great. And their jerseys were so badass.
They were sick.
That's one of the coolest jerseys that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So Scott Mendenhall, if you guys don't know, he does have a podcast also, but him and his church group were on a mission, and actually they came up to Eureka Springs and helped Nick and Rachel, and there was like 20
at least
20 volunteers.
I can only imagine how much that helped, you know, to put on the event.
And like, they were at different spots and just super helpful. Everything was just so smooth, man.
It was.
With any event, you're never going to start on time. When you have 200 people or 300 racers, it never happens. I never go into an event thinking it's going to say 9 and it's going to start at 9. You know, it just doesn't happen. But all the work that all the volunteers, Nick and Rachel, put in was just awesome. I met Jen Emmanuel Soto from Seek and Shred, and they were so awesome. Shout out to Allie and Brenda. I mean, just so many people. People, you know, Caleb, people I met in Oak City, Martin, Justin. I can just go on and on with Bodie. You know, I talked to Bodie for a little bit. I can just go on and on with all the people I met, but I just wanted to give a special shout out to those guys because they were just so awesome. So guess what I'm doing on June 15th and 16th,
I have a hunch.
17th and 18th. I'm going to give you 3 guesses.
Okay.
Okay. And if you don't get them, then we're gonna shut the podcast
Okay.
off. Go ahead.
Seek and Shred.
Yes. I thought you were gonna wait till the last one. Yes, I am going to Seek and Shred. I heard it is such an awesome race. So.
And that video you shared with me, that I mean, the trail that was last year's trail, so I can only imagine.
Amazing.
I mean, there's room for passing everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
it's gonna be amazing.
That's gonna be cool.
I'm so stoked to do that. Richard and I are just working on logistics to get our stuff out there, our boards and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely gonna fly out there. So I'm super stoked, man. This is gonna be. I can't believe all the events that we've been to. You know, unfortunately you had to miss a couple, but this is super fun, man. You want to wrap this up?
Sure. I mean, and you're, we worked the math out, the numbers, and you're on the cusp to making it to race for the rail. And so this is exciting and amazing. And this is your first race season, and you have what it takes, and you're proving you have what it takes to get to the top.
Yeah.
So I'm super happy for you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You can't not go to Seek and Shred, right? Like,
I know.
That's your race up there.
It's just so crazy to me that my first year racing, I am in the runnings for ORL. Like, I just can't process that. Like, you know, I feel bad for the people that have been trying, so hard and they just can't get there. And I'm so thankful, and I say this all the time, I'm so thankful for everything that I've been given as far as this racing, this whole one-wheeling thing. It's just amazing that I can do this, whereas 9 months ago, you came up to me on a Wednesday ride and you're like, hey, do you want to train with me? And you saw something in me. And I was like, yeah, sure, I guess. I mean, I was just doing it just to run with you. And look where we are now.
Yeah.
So thank you for seeing that in me. Thank you for just taking that extra step to come up to me and say, hey, let's go train. And then we've been hitting it hard ever since.
Well, there's nothing more fun than training hard with somebody else that loves to train hard. You build off that energy.
It's so funny because when we go trail riding or when we go train, people are like, oh, we want to go, and like, you can come, but this is what Tyler and I are doing. We're hitting that trail hard.
Like we have it. Like it's
we'll
all
meet
or nothing
you at the end or something.
It's not a fun ride.
So thank you again for just lighting that fire into my ass. And here we are. So Seek and Shred, here we come.
And it's obviously not cheap to get to these events, right? I mean, I would say on average it's $1,000 per race to go to, and then there's other things that happen to come up. So if you guys want to help support, obviously, subscribing to the YouTube and wherever, but Electric Feather has merchandise. If you want to buy one of these shirts that Jonathan and I personally made, you can find them on the website. And we have, if they're not your style, we have plenty of other merchandise that you guys can pick from. So that helps and goes a long way to getting
post a link on the YouTube.
I'll put it in the description below. You can click on the website and check it out, see what we have.
And the best thing about that is that our family and I, we are the stars. We're the models for those. Yeah, we look good in those. So everybody can see how good they would look in them.
Yep, exactly.
So let's wrap this up, man. I think this was a great podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super excited. If you guys don't know, we got some mics. Shout out to a lady that I don't know.
At Dirtsurferz,
but I met her at Dirtsurferz.
Yeah.
And she actually interviewed me, and I was asking her about these bikes, and she gave me the name and stuff, and we looked them up, and here we are.
Yeah.
So I hope we can continue this, and this is super fun.
We'll just keep upping our podcast game, and
maybe we'll look like that one day.
You guys can't see the video, but it's a legit podcast setup.
Legit podcast setup, yeah. All right, man. Well, I'll be at Seek and Shred. We're gonna go hit the Wednesday night AOC ride. We'll catch you guys later. All right, guys.
Later. Oh, I'm stiff.
That was good, man. That was good. That was so good.